Hello. Sorry, I'm a little late.
That's okay. Hello, I'm Tom.
Nice to meet you.
Hey guys, Tom here from Touchscreen. Welcome back to another video. And today we are talking with Rama and Kaitlin from Touch in the United States. So very happy to have you guys involved with the chat. So if you want to introduce yourself and just say, well, basically whereabouts in the US you're from and what is your role in Touch US. Let's
Yeah,
go
Rama,
first.
you go
Okay,
first.
sure. So
You.
Rama Mohtadi, I'm based in Dallas, Texas. Play my club team is technically Dallas Touch. So super excited to be chatting today. And I'm currently on the men's 30s World Cup team.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hi, Kaitlin Sigado. I live in Portland, Oregon. So my home club is the Portland Hunters. On the women's 27s team with USA.
Okay, cool. You look like you've just been playing.
Uh,
Is,
yeah. Yes. Yeah, I just got done with the training session. Actually, I told them I had to cut it short. I said, sorry,
and
guys, I gotta go. The
and they
podcast calls.
the thing that you're wearing, Broncos. I'm guessing that's from Australia. It looks like it's from
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah, it is. It's yeah, it was from I lived on the Gold Coast for a little while down and played with Palm Beach Touch. So one of
Oh,
their super
cool.
series that they ran, they used some of the NRL teams logos.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
snuck away with a little Broncos top.
Nice. So would you class yourself as a Broncos fan?
I would until the Dolphins like had a team move up to the NRL, and so I would now classify myself as a Dolphins fan first and a Broncos
Well,
fan second.
whether or not you're up to date, congratulations. The Dolphins just won last night.
Yes, I saw. Thank you.
So, both of you are in the World Cup. So, a touch US is this USA? Have they played in previous touch footy World Cups before?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry, Rama, I didn't know if you wanted to jump in with that or not, but yes, the US has been in quite a few of them. I think almost all except for maybe like the first couple.
yeah. Okay, I thought I'd seen them in when the World Cup was in Coffs Harbour in Australia. I definitely think I saw the US as part of that campaign as well. What about yourself? Is this have you played in World Cups before this one?
I personally have. I played in 2019. I was the co-captain for the mixed open team in 2019.
Awesome.
Rama, what about yourself?
Yeah, this will be my first World Cup. I kind of got into touch probably like 2018, 2019. So I was a little late on that side. So super excited for my first one in
Me,
Nottingham.
me too. My first World Cup as well. What got you into touch, Rama? When you say you only got into touch a little bit late?
So, I mean, it was always something that we had. We have pickup every Sunday, and it's just been something that's been there, but it wasn't really something that was super organized. It was just, we knew the rules, and we would play on Sundays as a way to get fitness. I played 15s and sevens, starting in college, and it was just, another way to get a run in, to kind of prep for, the 15s and the seven season. And then, a couple people here started, they started getting a little bit more competitive about it. Um, and he went to, Enosh on my team, he went to World Cup in 2015. I was starting to kind of understand that, hey, there's like another path that I can take, in terms of staying competitive, but not having to, do like the whole 15s practice and games and, show up to work with, broken bones and bruises. And so I was like, this is great. I can, I love to compete, just in everything. Doesn't matter really what it is, but to have this as like a new outlet was just so great. And got to learn from a ton of people in the U.S. and kind of made my trajectory towards the team this year.
It often does get referred to as the safe version of, well, 15s, or we call it rugby union.
Yeah.
And something that you can play, like where I'm from, we have in our national tournaments a men's over 65s division. So it's definitely a sport that you can play late in life as well. Kaitlin, what about you? So what got you into touch football?
Yeah, a little bit like Rama. I started in 15s in university. And then back here in Oregon is where I am born and raised. I went away for university and then I came back home because there was a women's Premier League team, which is a semi-professional rugby union league for the women here in the United States. And there was a team located here in Portland. So I came back not only to be closer to family and start a career, but then also like to play for that club as well. And luckily, a lot of my teammates played touch because Portland Hunters is probably one of the longest standing USA touch clubs, one of the first founded clubs here in the United States. And so there's a really strong base of players here. And when it came around to seventh season, kind of ran out of excuses as to like why I couldn't show up to touch, and like because it's a really great way to get fit. So yeah, then I showed up to touch and was like, wow, this is so cool. I don't have to tackle anybody. And just kind of went from there. And so yeah, that's how I then ended up started playing touch in 2016. So that's the first time I went away with the Portland Hunters to U.S. Nationals. And it was actually only the second year at U.S. Nationals that they had a women's division. So the first year that we had a women's division at our U.S.A. Nationals was in 2015, actually after we took our first women's open team to a World Cup. So just a little history about USA Touch and that. They, in 2015 to Coffs Harbour, they took a women's open team for the first year. And then when they came back, made sure to implement a women's open division at Nationals. And
Awesome.
So Portland couldn't take a team in 2015. We didn't have enough women's players yet at the time. And then 2016, we had enough rugby players who were ready to start playing touch. And so we were able to take a team away then.
That's awesome.
Just kind of
That's
fell
really
in love
cool.
with it then. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. So Rama, this is something that I spoke to you before the video started, before actually Kaitlin joined in. Now, you just mentioned pickup, social pickup. Can you explain? Now, a lot of people, so probably from the US, would know exactly what that is. I, until last night, talking with Thailand Touch, had no idea such a thing even existed. I'd heard the term pickup just from watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary, and how he did pick up ball when he was filming for the Space Jam movie. So explain to us what that is in the US.
It's such a like commonplace thing, and in so many sports, of just being able to just show up to a certain place. There's no set teams. There's no set really anything. So like for us, it's in Dallas. It's Sundays. Much to my chagrin, it's at the same field that it's always been at for the past probably 10 to 15 years. But and I say chagrin because the field is not good most of the time. It gets rained out, bad drainage, that kind of stuff. But it's just a way where, people can kind of show up, same as like basketball. I mean, it's good. It's good with soccer as well, right? There's tons of places here you can just show up and start playing, right? Touch and rugby are not as pervasive here. So you kind of got to like learn, but I mean, there's all sorts of those around the United States, right? All the clubs are super welcoming and open. They're posting, hey, we're playing here on Wednesdays, 7 to 9, right? Or, Thursdays, New York, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, New Orleans, right? There's just places to go where you can show up. Doesn't matter if you've played for 20 years or you just want to run around. And that's just how it is. I
Wow.
don't know. I think it's just so common here. It kind of took me aback when you're like, I hadn't heard of pickup because it's
I'd heard of the term before, but I'd never
right.
actually seen it with touch football. So would that you call that would be your social touch on Sunday
Yeah,
pickup? Yeah, okay.
I
So
would say, yeah.
our social touch is you form a team yourself, just with your friends, and then you enter any other weekly tournament, but you're just playing against groups of friends. So I'm in a team called the Boring Spuds right now, and we might play against like the Ankle Snappers or something like that. It's just at the same ground, but I'm always playing with my team. But we don't have any sort of. We might have fitness sessions where it's just, hey, if you want to come down 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, we're running a fitness session, open invitation, but it's never that sort of pickup style, which I think I wouldn't mind it. I'd go down and have a game. Is it run by a club, like a social club that they facilitate it, or is it just sort of a group of people put out a message?
Yeah, I think in some cities it's a little bit more organized. Like I got to run with New Orleans by chance yesterday, and they kind of had some drills and fitness to start, and then you kind of roll into to pick up. You know, so it just kind of depends, but yeah, there's usually a club involved. I don't think the sport is that there's not as many people playing in the States, unfortunately. But it's usually run by a club. But Kaitlin, I don't know how, with Portland, how you guys do that. But I know you guys get tons of numbers. So
Yeah. And so like when you say club, like I know in Australia a lot of the times you go and you've got a clubhouse and you have like a whole like group who runs that. For a lot of the clubs across the United States, like we don't have our own training grounds that we go
Okay.
to. So like Rama was saying, like we do have clubs in different, and we have like affiliated USA touch clubs all across the United States. But like for example, here in Portland, like we just go to a park that we know is going to be open and available on that day. We've always trained on Wednesdays and Sundays at the same time, and so people just know to come to that park, and we'll be there and we'll be ready to play. And that's how our club puts it on. Some clubs have gotten to the point, and our club, I know New York has one as well, and Seattle Touch. We've gotten to the point where we can offer like spring leagues or fall leagues. So similar to how you would structure a league in Australia. You get your teams together and then you play against other people in your club. Some of the clubs here in Portland have now been able to grow big enough to like do that. And the only thing that we usually do differently is it's just modified games. So our spring league, we have 5 different teams. We do a draft where like captains of those teams get to help pick and distribute. So it helps engage newer players who probably aren't as comfortable with the game with more experienced players. So the teams are like relatively even playing wise. And then on the day, you would play anywhere from like 4 to 6 games a day in a 2-hour time slot. So our games are only 12 minutes long.
Okay.
So you just play like a quick six-minute half or a full 12-minute game, depending on the structure that like your clubs come up with. And then you just go back to back to back for about 2 hours. And then you do that over 5 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, however long your league is. So that's probably the closest that we've gotten to maybe simulating, starting our own like leagues and generating some like more popularity that way. But most clubs all year round will just play pickup touch. So you always know you can come and just play touch at a local touch club in your area.
Wow. That's the draft competition where my local club last year, we started our first sort of draft league. It's just sort of a short
Okay.
for our rep players. So if you get picked to go to a state championships, you go into a draft. So we could have someone from the men's 30s, which is what I was playing with the men's 50s or the men's 20s or the mixed open boys or something like that. And it's kind of half draft, half random. We do want to make sure the teams are even, and there's not like a 9-1 score. But it was so much fun. There was rivalries. It was friendly rivalries, but we had friends playing against each other, and they really wanted to win. And it was a really, really good. I think it was we ran it over 6 or 7 weeks, and it was really good.
Yeah, the only time we'd ever been able to do that in Dallas was 2020, the COVID year, where USA Rugby at the time would not let 15s or 7s play or practice or anything, but they didn't say anything about touch. So we had heaps of people coming. So we had probably 4, 5, 6 teams, and it was a dream. It was a very short-lived dream in Dallas, but yeah, always jealous of like the summer leagues and the fall leagues, that everyone gets to do.
We had a state champs in 2020 that went ahead in the middle of our sort of restrictions. So instead of like a state champs normally runs about 22 fields in this big sort of open area, but they were all sectioned off. So there was like this group, group.
Yeah.
No spectators were allowed. You had to arrive, quickly play games, leave. New group came in, quickly played a bunch of games, leave. It was weird. It was COVID just completely threw everything out of whack.
Right.
So if I asked you, this might not even have an answer. The heart of touch football in the US, is it mostly played in or mostly common in one major country or one major state or city? Or is it sort of scattered across the whole of the US? Like, do you have a central point in where like the national teams might train?
Rama, what?
Yeah, you can say.
Yeah, happy to. So yeah, we don't have a heart of the U.S. Our president lives in Tempe, Arizona. So he lives, the president of U.S.A. Touch. I mean, he lives in Tempe, Arizona. Portland is, like I said, a founding club. New York's a founding club. L.A. Royals have had a really long-standing club. And so when we look to host training camps in areas like that, it usually ends up falling somewhere on the West Coast. We had a close relationship with USA Rugby at one point in time. We still have a relatively good relationship with USA Rugby. It's just not as intertwined as we were at one point in time. So we've utilized their facilities down in Chula Vista, California, which is an Olympic training complex.
Wow.
I'm sorry, it's an elite athlete training complex. They've rebranded. I will get my words correct. Sorry. And so we've been able to utilize, we had a 2017 Nationals hosted there, and then a 2018 Nationals hosted there as well. 2018 and 2019. And so prior to leaving for the 2019 World Cup to go to Malaysia, we all met in San Diego as national team players. And we spent a week in San Diego together before flying over to Malaysia. And so that's kind of been essentially where we've gotten together and where we've hosted our like high performance training camps. The ideal location is to go to Chula Vista. They've got residency, they've got food and beverage, they've got fields and facilities all right there for us to use. But it's not something that is tied to USA Touch.
Okay.
So then other teams throughout their campaign for this World Cup have just worked with people they have in their team who have strong club relationships. So we've hosted a camp here in Portland. I know Austin, Texas has hosted quite a few camps as well for the lead up. And then we've also reutilized Chula Vista in the lead up again. And so it tends to be mid United States to the West Coast is what it's happened to fall the last couple of years. Just because the climate on the East Coast is not necessarily always warm enough.
Oh, of course. Yep. Okay. How did you find Malaysia? Was it really hot? I've heard just
I didn't know if I was
Australia,
allowed to
just
like.
just no, you can talk about whatever you want, but just to put it into context, the Australian teams were renting out like industrial buildings, like indoor buildings, like I think like an aircraft carrier or something, completely
Ugh.
putting grass over it and putting heaters in there. So they were training under heat, like really
Oh
hot
wow.
conditions. That's how they were trying to acclimatize themselves before going over to Malaysia. How did you find the sort of the weather there, or the heat? Because apparently it was getting into the 40 degrees Celsius. So I don't know, that'd be what, 100
Yeah.
110 or 105
Yeah.
in Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah. So I used to hold a role with USA Touch as well as their youth development officer or coordinator. So when I went to play in Malaysia in 2019, I had the advantage of being the tour manager for our youth team that went over in 2018. So we took two youth teams in 2018 to the Youth World Cup, a U18 boys team and a U18 girls team.
Awesome.
And so myself, OJ Hawaya, the president of USA Touch, JD Stevenson, who's our high performance director, we all traveled over with these youth players to kind of understand the lay of the land in Malaysia and like understand the heat that we were going to be facing. And that was the Youth World Cup, was a very hot World Cup. And to say that, knowing that we went into 2019 and it was like even hotter, was quite eye-opening.
I've only been to Malaysia once.
Yeah.
I've been to Malaysia once, and it was just a stopover flight, but we had about 3 hours. And I remember walking out of the airport because we could just go for a walk just to see a few things. And coming out of the air-conditioned airport, it was like a fireball that hit me in the face.
Yeah.
It was instant.
And
With
it's
the humidity and the heat. It's like, wow. Like we have heat in Australia, but it's normally a lot drier.
Yeah. Yeah, and even like in 2019 it rained, but it was still like close to 35, 30 degrees while it's raining, and it's just so confusing. The days were really long. It was really fun, like at the end of it, like it was a really great experience. But it was really grueling heat. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like it. I don't think we're going to get that in England.
No, I think we'll find something a little bit different.
I think England. It's funny they come over, and England bring a men's open team and play in our state championships, but they come from their winter, which is, I imagine, is snowy cold, like really cold, and it's in the middle of our summer or at the start of our summer. So they come from probably negative something. Well, talking Fahrenheit. I don't know much about Fahrenheit, but freezing to what probably you experience in Malaysia to really hot, and they come over and they get so sunburnt. It's crazy. But I think their English summer is actually quite pleasant from what I've heard.
It's pleasant, but there's some sneaky rain. There's some sneaky rain that you should be prepared for.
Well, as soon as someone says England, I think of rain. It seems to be a common thing with England. But as long as their fields hold up, I think we'll be fine. Rain never hurt anyone.
Rama, do you ever see rain in Texas, Rama?
all the time. We have the heat too, so we're ready for whatever. The worst part, I talked about how bad the field that we usually play on is. The best that the field was this past year was July and August, and it was probably like 40 degrees every day, but the field was perfect. So it was like we get the terrible weather, but then the field is great. So it's like we can never have both. But it was like lush and soft and not muddy. It was great, but it was 105 degrees outside. But we still play, so it doesn't deter anyone in Texas. We're kind of used to it, right? Our seventh season is in the summer, so everybody's just kind of used to it.
It's in Touch is played in the summer, mostly in Australia as well, with all our sort of rugby tackle stuff is in the winter.
Mhm.
But it's funny, like with Texas, I've never been to the US. I nearly went to the US for touch football actually in 2016. Get to that in a second, but I only ever associate Texas with what I see on movies, which is just farms, lots of farms,
Right.
lots of grass, lots of not much, just yeah, just if anything, you can kind
Sounds
of
like
compare it
Texas.
to. It
No,
sounds like
just kidding.
Texas.
Yeah, I've got horses back there.
Yeah, that's is what we see, and you probably see if you see like Australia, people are always asking like is there kangaroos everywhere and things like that. And
Yeah,
where I'm from,
kangaroos and
yes,
koalas, right? That's it.
yep, where I'm from, you see the odd kangaroo, but like in Sydney, there's probably people that have lived their life without seeing one ever.
Right.
It's just another city. But what was I going to say? Oh yes, we one of the clubs near where I'm from, Walls End, they're called the Wolves. They used to
Ooh,
take a team to, I think it was Florida, because
yeah.
they would always visit Disneyland, and there was a tournament in Florida each year that they'd participate in. I don't know
Yeah,
if
that
you've
was our USA Touch Nationals.
Mhm.
maybe what it was, and it'd
Yep.
be so not many of them actually played for that club. They'd sort of like bring in just people from the area and sort of make a team specifically for that. But it was a very expensive trip. I think that's why I couldn't end up doing it. But I was for a couple of weeks a part of the team that was supposed to go over there.
Very cool.
But yeah, I think they did that up
You
until
missed a good
COVID.
one that year.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I was there. That was my first nationals.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
okay.
it was a good year.
The feedback I got was the fields were perfect. You could eat your dinner off the fields, and
Yeah,
everything was so
that was what
organized.
Yeah.
Wide World of Sports, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were at ESPN Worldwide of Sports, so the fields were never going to not be immaculate.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome. So preparation for World Cup, training wise, how does that work? Do you have times where the whole team can get together and train for a weekend, or do you sort of live close by to each other that you can train more frequent? Kaitlin, you said Wednesday, Sunday. Is that a USA training, or is that more of a just social training?
Yeah, for us here in Portland, that's Wednesday, Sunday is our social club trainings. We we here in Portland probably have a group of almost 30 that are going to the World Cup across different teams within the contingent and like coaching and refereeing. And so we, as a group, we work to get together Saturday mornings, and then we aim to try and find one weeknight in the week that works for a group of people. Those are usually a bit smaller. But you don't always play with the people you're going to play with, but you're at least training with other World Cup players at those sessions. Like I said, Portland's a relatively big club. Like we've got 30 people. I know for Rama, like his scenario looks a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we kind of have done the camps. We were in Portland not too long ago, and we've kind of done those very kind of high intensity 3-day camps. And then we will do some individual or team kind of by itself running through our drills and trainings. And then we do like scrimmages against the other team. So in the Portland camp, we played, we played mixed 30s, we played 35s, we played 40s, we played 50s. And then previous to that, we had a camp with the open team in Phoenix where we were running, different game strategy or situational things with them to give us a run against, another team. In Dallas, we have, I think there's 4 of us going to the World Cup. We try to train. And then, a lot of it is just trying to stay accountable within the team, I think, and making sure, everybody's kind of doing it. We're starting into our plan in terms of what, the different sessions that we need to do. Some of it is just, hey, we got to get the fitness in on your own. There's not going to be a specific thing that you need to do, but then we have some, here's two days out of the week that you need to be doing X and Y. So it's that kind of accountability thing. just because everybody's so spread out, right? There's no team that has everybody even relatively close, right? We were even talking about it the other day, like teams like England or, Singapore, right? They can take trains and probably get together all the time. For us, it's like, we've got people in New York, we've got people on the other side of the US and, in Seattle or wherever, like to do that type of travel on a consistent basis, like is a lot. And from a time perspective and a cost perspective, right? So it's a lot of it is just about individual accountability. And like I had a chance to go to New Orleans this week, and train with one of the players on men's 30s with me, which was great because we're running these fitness drills together and not having to just do it on your own, right?
Yeah, it makes a
so
difference.
it makes a
Yeah.
right. Go ahead.
I don't know. I was just gonna say the only thing I think, which USA Touch has done a really great job about setting expectations. So like you kind of came into selections knowing that you're gonna have to be accountable. You're gonna have to do things on your own. Teams will do their best to get together. So like women's 27s, we'll have 2 training camps before we go away. But one of the things that USA Touch has implemented in the last 2 World Cups is like a week training camp all together right before we go away. So this time, so that when you are selected for a World Cup team, your expectations are going to be 2 weeks long. So you're not just going away for the tournament and to compete in the tournament, like you're going away for an additional week because we've got a week to train together in the space that we're in, acclimatize to the time zone changes and like get over there, get adjusted and like spend that extra time together. So I think that's one thing that I've really enjoyed that USA Touch has implemented in that like extra time. Sure, you understand that like maybe you're taking more time off of work or things like that. But the benefit of getting a whole solid week together right before the tournament like really helps those final connection pieces that we can't get. It's such a, like Rama was saying, it's such a large landscape across the United States. I mean, a great example is I left Miami this morning at 6 a.m. on the East Coast, and I like didn't arrive to Portland until what was it, Rama, 2 in the afternoon,
Wow.
and that's Pacific Standard Time, which would have been 5 p.m. East Coast time. So I've been traveling for 11 hours, and that was just a 1-day flight for work. So imagine trying to do that every other weekend just to get together as a squad is just it's tricky. It's tough.
And going over a week early, you probably get some really good exhibition games because I imagine there would be a lot of other nations doing the same thing. I can see that week actually being quite enjoyable. Myself, I'm with China. I'm coaching the Chinese mixed open side.
Cool.
Yeah, we do weekend 3 big weekend camps, and we've got the 3rd one next month. But I think there's a few of them going over early, but a lot of them just couldn't get cost and getting work off. But myself, I'm only getting there like right before the tournament starts because of it's getting time off work. So I'm going to be very tired for the first couple of days just trying to. If we could have, the week early would have been more than ideal. That would have been just perfect, just to come into the tournament fresh and acclimatized. Just having a look at.
We've been talking about like those exhibitions that you're talking about. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right.
For months, like so we know, some of the teams that we've gotten in contact with who are going to be able to play and scrimmage against that week, and so it gives us that extra kind of motivation as well as knowing that it's a good use of our time, right? We're not just going there for the week before, right? We're not going to gain a bunch of fitness the week before, right? It's just more about gelling, getting all the teams gelling and making sure that we're all on the same page regardless of what's going on.
Get a bit of time to do some sightseeing as well. I don't know if you've ever been to England. I haven't.
Neither. I'm excited. I've had an obsession with London, so maybe I'll spend an extra couple days there.
Yeah, I have to. Ever since I've watched the first James Bond, just a British movie, and it's like, oh wow, that looks cool. Dreary but cool. I've got in front of me the 27s women's pool. It's one pool of 10 teams.
Oh,
Is there any
okay.
um
I thought you were going to say you have
any
the Instagram channel on today, and I was like, oh, don't pull that up.
Yeah.
no, I don't know. I don't know that.
You're
I
doing
will
a great
follow.
job
I
today,
will.
Kaitlin. Don't
I
worry.
will.
No, no,
I
no,
will.
no.
I will follow that. I'll get that up in this. I won't put it on the screen, but I will definitely follow that channel. But I'm looking at the teams. Is there anybody? I assume you've had a look at it. Who are you most excited to verse?
Oh, I was asked that question earlier today. I joke about the Instagram because I did an IG takeover today. So pretty much the world got to watch my like horrific travel journey across the United States. So it was quite entertaining for everyone. But you know, I look at that pool and I just like it's really exciting all all 10 of the teams, I mean, including ourselves. But yeah, the 9 other teams that we get to compete against are really exciting, really fun. I think I'm probably most looking forward to the England game and the Singapore game.
Okay.
Those 2 games are like for me what I would really love to compete in.
Now, England, did they win 27's last World Cup? Was that one of the divisions Australia didn't win?
Well, it is one of the divisions Australia didn't win, but actually New Zealand won it.
New
And so
Zealand won it.
it's really interesting that New Zealand unfortunately isn't able to take a women's 27s this time around.
Yeah, it is.
But with that, it kind of opens up the door, you know, maybe to see a new nation medal or, you know, see like again, like that final we already know it won't be Australia and New Zealand, which is
Yeah.
a really exciting opportunity for another country to come in and be in that final match.
I actually don't have any insight. The only women's team outside of Australia I've seen here is Singapore, but it was their opens
Okay.
team. I know their opens
Yeah.
team's really well structured. They actually play
Yeah.
really, really strong touch footy, but I don't know how their 27s
Yeah.
go. I imagine
Singapore is really. Oh, go ahead.
I was
Sorry.
just going to say I imagine Scotland will be strong. They're
Yes.
actually coming a long way.
Yeah.
I've been following the European champs a bit, and Scotland and France are pretty good
Same.
there. I've seen Hong Kong, some of their girls, they came when I was in China. Hong Kong came over and the 27s girls played mixed. So
Cool.
I met some of them, but I didn't really get it because they said that they played middle, but they're playing on the wing because they're playing mixed. So we didn't really get a good
Yeah.
idea of how they would go playing women's.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's going to be some pretty good games there.
Yeah, it'll be a really fun division to watch and follow throughout the entire tournament.
So now
and I'm not just saying that because I'm in it.
Oh, they'll all be
the men's 30s,
really good. Yeah,
the men's
just brought it
30s
up
will be
now.
really exciting.
Where are you? US Pool A, men's 30s. Rama, have you got anyone that you're particularly excited to play against?
I mean, for me personally, it's just Australia. Always watching them and just, you know, I've never seen them play in person, right? So being able to get on the field against them and really understand, you know, the speed at which they play, and you know how they execute will be very exciting.
Do you follow much touch football on YouTube? Do you watch
Yeah, I
outside of my
try.
channel?
I try. I actually have. It was a slow work day. I was watching like England nationals day one. I'm still catching up.
Have you come
So I
across?
try to.
Have you come across the Doyleson Dragons?
Yes.
So the coach for the Doyleson Dragons is coaching Australian men's 30s.
Good to know. Okay.
Yeah, her name's Carly. She's actually from the same region as me and is our coaching director. So she doesn't actually, right now, she doesn't actually coach any teams, but she gets around and sort of gives feedback to all the coaches, including me. So, and one of my friends is actually her assistant coach. So I know actually a fair few in that Australian men's 30s team because a lot of them are sort of around my age.
Yeah, and
so
our
Yes,
coach is Australian as well. So we have Dave Parker as our coach.
Okay.
So he's pretty familiar, and he's a great, from a strategy and tactician. It's been great getting all the knowledge from him just in our,
Mhm.
our camps and, our Zoom calls that we're doing every other week. It's been really eye-opening for me, and just trying to get to that next level from a touch, like knowledge and strategy perspective.
Yeah. But if Carly Banks is coaching that Australian men's 30 team, they will be fast. They will be
Mhm.
Yeah,
running.
it's really
Everything's a sprint with her.
it's really interesting. So Carly coached in 2019. She coached the men's 35s team with Dave Zanetti. And it's really
Yep.
interesting to see Dave has come down to men's 30s with Carly again. So it's cool to see them back together in their duo. And yeah, they both play a very hard-hitting, fast touch game. So Rama, I think you guys will really enjoy it. I know that your team's
Yeah.
up for the challenge.
For sure.
I've never met Dave Zanetti though, but he seems like a really, really nice guy. And I think him and Carly have a pretty close connection. Carly was actually the men's 35 coach last World Cup because she was put into a division that had New Zealand. New Zealand didn't put in a men's 30s. So I think she would have had the
Oh,
30s.
okay.
Yeah, she would have had the 30s.
Gotcha.
However, she wanted, whether it was she wanted the challenge or they wanted to give her a challenge of versus New Zealand.
Yeah.
Which she probably would have preferred that anyway. So I assume that if she was the 30s coach last time, Dave would have played 30s then, because they're from the
Yeah.
sort of the same, I think the same area in Queensland. But Dave Zanetti, he's a player that's been around playing elite level, and he still is. I think he's in his late 30s, and he's still
Yes.
playing elite men's open. And he's just been around for a long time. Dave, and he's always played very high level. So, yeah, Australia. That's Australia. Right. Oh, cool. What else are you excited? Is there anything else that you're just excited for about the World Cup?
Well, Tom, curveball. Who are you most excited to play against in the mixed open division? Who is
Oh,
your
where
pool?
is? Yeah.
Come on.
So
Love
I've
that,
been.
Kaitlin.
Oh, we got the same pool as Australia. So I've just been messaging all the guys that are playing for Australia. I'm
Ah,
actually seeing
cool.
one on the
Yeah,
weekend,
yeah.
and I've just been giving it to them. I just feel like, hey,
Good.
we're gonna flog you and stuff like that. But we're playing US. We're playing the
Exciting.
United
Cool.
States, yeah. But to be honest, the first team I said I wanted to play was my first ever memory of a Touch World Cup. The first ever team that I saw was Spain. And I had this obsession with, because it was the first time I realized another country existed. This might have been, my mum played in like the 1997, 8, something in the 90s World Cup, and I was there watching. So just the first thing I saw was, we get to play Spain. So that one I'm probably really looking forward to, just because it's my first ever memory of a different country existing, the Spaniards. And my favorite sports person of all time is Rafael Nadal at the moment. So,
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, that's what am I looking forward to? Just seeing England for the first time, seeing how the competition works, because it goes for a week. I'm interested to see how it's run, just to see how many people are there, and if there's, I don't know, just I guess mixing with. I'm going to be walking around with this mic, just sort of chatting to as many people as I can. So I'll come and catch up with you guys.
Sure.
But yeah, that's just getting to the World Cup is probably what I'm most keen about, and hopefully,
that's cool.
the team does really well.
Yeah, I think for me, it'll be really interesting just from a sport that, I've played for, however many years, and going to my first World Cup and just seeing all these people of a sport that I think is very unique, right? Just because it's not played by, millions of people in the States. And then seeing all these people from all these different countries who play the exact same sport and, are doing the same things on a weekly basis, and just being able to come together. It sounds kind of corny, but it's just cool to have to like see that there's this larger community, because I feel like the U.S. touch community is so great and everybody's so welcoming and open, regardless of if you go, just walk up in Portland or New York or Miami or wherever. So to be able to see that on a broader scale and having everybody all in the same place is just super exciting, and getting to see it in person at the even just the speed that everybody's going at, and everybody's going to just be wanting to get to a higher level.
I'm really hoping that particularly in the 3 opens divisions, so just to take away from yours divisions, but I'm hoping the US actually gets some time on the live stream, because I think with any sport, if it's big in the US, it helps everywhere else. So in my opinion, if touch footy can grow in the US, that would benefit everywhere, because a lot of sort of like when we search things like social media and any sort of online platform where we see like movies, for example, the most popular movies from where I'm from and where most people are from are made in the US. So hopefully, we see some US teams get on the live stream and get some exposure for your country as well. Hopefully, have you guys actually played live stream before that's online?
Yeah, I've played in a state cup in Queensland on a live stream game, and then we also live stream our USA Touch Nationals as well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Is that on YouTube?
It is on YouTube, yes.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah. So we don't always have commentary. We usually get commentary at least for the final games. But we live stream Field 1 for all 3 of our days.
Cool.
Yeah.
Rama, have you ever played on live stream?
Yeah, I mean nationals, never won, but got runner up 2 years ago, which was super exciting. Actually, the women's game before that was very exciting, and it was really hard we were warming up and it went to a drop off in the women's final 2 years ago. And it was hard to pay attention to warm up. We're about trying to get ready for the final, and there was a comeback, and it was a crazy final. I had to go rewatch that once I got over losing the final. But yeah. So we do a good job, I think, with that media side with nationals, and you can see like the breakouts, and we have tons of film, which is always great to review and go back over. So that is one of our big strengths, is we're always able to look back at those.
So that your coach is Dave Parker. Does he go through sort of we call it satellite coaching, like where like a chat like this, and he'll bring up your game, and sort of, is that how he normally helps out with the coaching?
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of different pieces, but yeah, that's one of them. Even in right now we have some homework for ourselves where we've broken up different pieces of the game, and we kind of need to give our feedback on what we could have done better, or what things went well. And then we get together to kind of review, how are we executing, what did we do wrong, what are we doing well on these particular plays, how are we, in the end, it's how are we executing against a platform that he has us running, right? And so, like I said earlier, it's really helped bring a lot of the guys who it's their first World Cup and getting to this level. It's really helped all of us try to just continue to push our game higher. So yeah, a lot of it is that strategy, and a lot of it is also like a lot of the Touch Football Australia, like those videos, and going through like this is how we want to run this play, or this is a good example of this play, or what did they do wrong on defense here. So it's kind of just a conglomerate of different media that we have, whether it's ourselves, things that he's brought to us, or things that we've done. Obviously a lot of the content that you put out ends up being homework for us as well. Our Rory from my team, he says for everyone down in New Orleans. Like it's their touchscreen is the religion for them to be able to watch and get there. So I had to make sure to give them that shout out that they really appreciate what you're doing.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Well, if there's ever like topics or parts of the game that you want analysed, I'm constantly asking for more ideas because like there's I think there's like 120 videos on the channel. So just having a game up there, I'm just trying to find sort of areas to cover. If there's any sort of plays that you want more information about or parts of the game, just send me an email and I'll get some screen recordings. It's just literally finding the topics is the most time consuming part of making these videos.
Sure.
But I really appreciate you watching it. It was kind of I kind of stumbled accidentally across making all that content. It was just more of I bought all this new equipment that I had for my job and I needed a way to test it out. So I put it on YouTube because, well, I only put it on YouTube. Like I did a game analysis and I put it on YouTube just because it was too large to send to somebody. So I put it on YouTube, send you the link, and next thing you know, there's 2,000 views on it over the weekend. So I was like, oh, okay, people want to watch this, I'll do some more.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're constantly in our chat as well. Your videos get sent through quite often.
Oh, cool. Do you have a favorite?
I really like the one where you're talking about if you don't have a long ball on your team, where you've got them coming around on the we call it a punish in the United States. I think you call it a C1, and then giving back to the splitter rather than giving to the wrapper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
that one's probably my favorite.
We ran that play. I coached the most recent team I coached was under 12s. And we
cool.
We did a lot of those plays that we call it two-stepping, which is when you sort of dummy this way and you just it's any sort of play where you're quick releasing from dummy half, like you're getting rid of that ball to someone straight away. You can run the rooster with a quick release or anything like that is good when you don't have a long ball because you're up against the 3-on-2 rather than the 4-on-3. Mm-hmm. So we're doing that with our Chinese team. Spoiler alert, because we have people that can we have people that can throw a ball the distance, but it might go over there or over there. So we had to cut out sort of any sort of Hail Mary passes, and okay, we need to do this sort of way of not needing to throw a big pass. But yeah, that actually was a good one.
So was that video for the team, and it just turned into a touchscreen video then?
No, I think the team sort of inspired the idea of it.
Okay.
And then, like, to me, that I didn't care if like other people seen that. Like, that's a common play from where I'm from, and defensive policy. It doesn't matter if you might know or think you know what's coming up against you. Yeah. You're usually going to defend the same anyway. So, and that's what I like about touch footy. From what I gather, coaches are really generous on sharing their knowledge. No one ever really keeps secrets. I've only ever seen 2 or 3 times where a coach has kept a secret, and that's only for a small period of time until the tournament's over, just because they're trying something a bit more innovative. Like there was one of my videos that I got asked to take down very quickly because I was giving away secrets too early, which I didn't think they were secrets. So
too quick, Tom. Too quick.
Well, it was actually Carly, mate. It was actually the Doyleson. It was actually the Doyleson team. I figured out that they were doing something really cool, so I wanted to share it, and then straight away the whole team, hey, can you take that down? So I was like, oh, sorry,
we're not ready to share it yet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, first.
I think now if I posted it up now, they'd be perfectly fine with it. But it was a bit of a panic situation for them at the start. Do you guys do you have like a favorite team that you like watching or a favorite player that you like watching?
I mean, for me, I enjoy watching. I mean, from on the U.S. side, I just enjoy watching people that I'm friends with. Like it could be any random game. I think from an international level, I think everybody likes watching Dylan Hennessy play. There's a new guy, and I was just talking about him yesterday. He's on New Zealand Men's Opens. His name's Lance Davids.
Hmm.
He's just
Oh
a
yeah.
very, I mean, the steps and then just being able to just contort his body and get down to, on his dives. I think he's relatively young, but he's on the men's open team. But
Yeah,
when
he's
I
the
was
player.
watching,
He's the player that'll sell the game. He just makes it really cool to watch. That's why I really
yeah,
like the New Zealand style. The New Zealand style of play is the best to watch. Like the
hmm
Australian style might win games, but it can get a bit stale. Whereas New Zealand,
hmm
it's just full of like flick passes and off the cuff like ad lib sort of style. And I really like watching New Zealand play.
yeah. So
I
he's
mean,
been one for me. What about?
Caitlin, you
I
would have
think
played your time in Gold Coast. You would have played with some pretty good players, I imagine.
yeah, I played around them more so, and got to play with some young and up and coming players. But like when I look at the women's game, I really enjoy watching Haley Maddock play, and Catherine Sargent from like the Sunshine Coast area. I just think between the two of them, like Haley Maddock's a really dynamic player. She's got a long ball, she's got a low dive. You're not like she's got like ball in two hands and you don't really know what she's going to do. And Kath Sargent just like she's such a workhorse on the field. She like makes constant meters for her team, and she's just so dangerous anytime she has her ball in hand. Those are like two of my like favorite women's players to watch right now.
Yeah, there's a, and I don't know her name. I'm the worst, but she's a Japanese women's open player, and she has a nasty step. Um,
Oh,
she she
yep,
Oh
was.
yeah,
I think
I know what
they came down and played. Did they play in New Zealand Nationals or
Australia.
Australia?
I know
Yeah,
exactly
so
the one you're
Australian
talking about.
nationals.
she
Yeah.
was. Yeah, I don't follow a ton of just people like that. I followed her, and I mean her highlights. Oh,
Yep.
she's
I
she's
don't
gonna
I
be.
don't know her name, but that was only 2 months ago when they came to Australia. And normally when an international team comes to an Australian champs, they're competitive, but they don't normally go as good up against our sort of elite team. So everyone was like, "Oh, we've got Japan. We'll go and beat Japan. That's all right." And they came out and shocked everyone. They
Mhm.
did so. I think they finished top four. But
Yeah,
I do remember I was walking past them playing on the main stadium, and I know exactly the girl you're talking about. Wicked step, a cut above everyone else, and just literally made people look silly when they were trying to defend her.
yeah.
So yeah, she was very good. I do probably need to find out who that is.
Yeah. We can add it right on the bottom and edit it
Yeah, let
right.
us know in
Yeah.
the comments if you know who the really, really good
Right.
Japanese women's open player is. That's awesome. You guys, anything else you want to ask? We've actually gone over an hour. How about that?
Yeah.
We
Is it
did it.
getting
We made it.
is it getting cold? Oh well, it's cold where we are at the moment. We're hitting winter soon. So I just look at you, Caitlin, and I'm like, surely it's cold, but you're on the other side of the
Oh,
planet, so it's probably is it
yeah.
summer where you are?
We're leading into summer. It's a false spring. It's a fake
Okay.
spring. In Oregon, we have like 9 months of rain
Oh,
usually. But spring is quite nice, and so we're in spring right now. Um, and so, but we did just come out of a lot of rain. So honestly, it's not that cold. And it's really nice to just be able to still sit outside and enjoy some fresh air. I was on an airplane for
oh,
hours
of
today.
course, yeah.
So yeah, it's not cold at all compared to stuffy airplane air.
Because looking at you, like if I associate that with where I'm from, all I'm thinking of
Yeah.
is mosquitoes.
Mozzies, yeah, same.
Yep.
I've
Oh
like
yeah.
thought I had a few on me earlier, but no, there's not a ton around here. So quite lucky in that aspect. Later as we get like later and closer into summer, they come out a bit more, but not yet.
Lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like with the travel, like when we go to camps, like we were there pretty much exactly a month ago, and it's probably, I don't know what the Celsius is, like 30-ish,
Ugh,
28, 30 in Texas, and then we went Portland, and it was raining, and it was probably, I don't know, 10.
It was so cold.
It
Wow.
was, so it's just to have that
It-
adjustment, and then we're like running drills, and like, we've flown in that Friday, and it's just like, you got to do it, right? Because we're here, we got to be in it. But at the same time, you're like, does it really need to be like rainy? And so like, that's the other part, right? Of, we talked about like the cost and the time of, having to travel to these camps, right? It's also like you could be going from completely different climates just because of
Yes.
the sheer size.
And the next
And it,
World Cup is in New Zealand. So
yeah,
it's there,
it'll be
another
really
country.
exciting to see who they select for their host city.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Hopefully, Auckland. I'm going to
Oh, you
assume
think
it's
so?
Auckland.
Okay.
I don't know, but I've been to New
Yeah,
Zealand a
yeah,
couple of times, and it's beautiful, New Zealand. But it does rain a fair bit. But it could look like where you are, Kaitlin. It looks like a completely blue sky.
yeah,
20 minutes later,
yeah.
it'll be raining in New Zealand.
Well, and that's the weekend, like when Rama was here, on either weekend, had they come the weekend before or the weekend after, it was absolutely beautiful. But the
Oh,
one weekend we had a training camp, it was absolutely miserable.
it's always like that.
And yeah, so it's what you get when you pick Oregon for a training site.
Right.
Well,
You understand it. You know what you've signed up for.
in Australia, so we've got basically Sydney and Brisbane are the two major cities that have all of our touch players. Our Gold Coast is just south of Brisbane, but it's easy
Yeah,
enough
yeah.
to get to Brisbane. So two major cities. We do have touch anywhere in the country, but 90% of our World Cup players are from there. So our training, you're either just down the road or you got to either fly to training or it's a 10-hour, 11-hour drive, like your day of travel as well. So
Yeah.
we've got it pretty difficult without, and if you've got someone that's completely from the other side in Western Australia, it's probably a further to get to training in your own country than it would be for someone like me to fly to Fiji or New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
I had a funny story. Like when I was living in Australia, my roommate, he was flying to Perth at the same day that I was flying to New Zealand. And we just kept joking that he was staying in the country and taking a longer travel day. And I was leaving the country and had a shorter flight than he did.
Yep, you're going international.
Yeah.
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 I was like, I have to cross customs. Like you just
Yeah,
have to cross an entire country.
we cross a whole heap of nothing in the middle of that
Right.
country. There's not much in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else you want to chat about before we see each other at the World Cup?
Oh, really appreciate the time, and giving all these different, countries a spotlight. It's awesome. And so
No, not a
really
problem at all.
appreciate
And
it.
who's
Yeah.
up
Thank you
next?
very much, Tom.
Next up, I
Who
have
do you got?
Sweden next.
Very
Sweden.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that'll be
Yeah.
interesting. And
That's
then
exciting.
next is on the weekend is Belgium.
Okay.
And
It's really
it
cool
shows.
to see all of these like European teams
Yeah.
who are able to compete in this World Cup now and they feel confident to bring teams. Yeah, it's so exciting to see like the massive amount of growth that they had from 2019 to 2024.
And
Yeah,
it
oh,
shows
100%,
your reach.
100%.
It
Yeah.
shows your reach of what
Yeah.
you're doing, which is great. Like to have
Well,
all these different people reaching out, and
someone from Belgium was one of my first comments on one of my first videos.
Ah, amazing.
It got overseas.
Just
It got
snuck
over.
in there.
Yeah, I don't know how YouTube algorithm or something sent it
right.
to
Yeah.
Belgium. So yeah, it was really cool. And if you see Dylan Hennessy at the World Cup, if you go up and speak to him, he will definitely speak to you. He will give you some time and speak to you. He's a very nice guy. So don't feel intimidated by Dylan. He's actually quite a bit of a reserved bloke. I know him on a casual basis, but he's not one bit arrogant. He's a really nice guy. So don't think, oh, it's Dylan Hennessy, I might not go talk to him. You're not going to bother him. Just go and speak to him. He'll be totally fine with it.
Awesome.
I actually want to get him on the channel, but he's not one to be talking on camera.
Oh, interesting. That'd be
All right, guys,
that'd be a good episode.
Yeah, it would be. Oh, he'd have so many great stories. Actually, Tony Trad, is he involved with U.S.A?
He is.
Someone
Yeah.
said that he was. I actually saw him 2 weekends ago at one of our tournaments. He's
Oh, cool.
the coaching director for New South Wales. So what is he involved with the men's open?
He's involved
Yeah.
with USA Touch as a technical director.
Technical director. Okay.
Yeah, technical coach as well. And so he's mainly been with the men's open team, but he's supporting across the campaign as needed and requested.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
Yeah, so
good.
it's been really great to have him join and his knowledge.
We had a 50-year anniversary recently with Australian touch
Yeah.
football, and we named teams. So we named our men's open team of the era, women's open, and all divisions. And he actually got named as the men's open coach of the last 50 years. So he's probably, well, according to Australia, he is our greatest coach in the men's side of things since the start of touch football. So very lucky to have Tony there. He's very knowledgeable.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And he thinks of things that you'd never even think of ever. But
yeah.
Anyway, guys, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, I will. And definitely see you at the World Cup. I'll come and hopefully catch a game. If I can catch Rama, your game against Australia, I definitely will. Awesome. And other than that, for anyone who's watching still, an hour and 11 minutes in, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye.
Okay.